The academic value of the trip that we carried out to Cairo is to suggest ways in which you can present material differently, in which you can make connections, in which you can help the students to see that education is not just about sitting in a classroom. It's not just about reading books, although these things are necessary, these things are primordial. It's also a way of suggesting that education should be about experiences. It should be about seeing things, understanding things, the sounds, the smells, the look of the city, creating impressions. It should be about raising points of interest that perhaps can't always be presented in the best way through reading texts. We had the opportunity to see something of the old city, the new city. We saw one of the oases, we saw a little bit of the countryside.
AUP out in the Western Desert in the Fayoum oasis, on the edge of the bioreserve, on the edge of one of the Sahara's greatest lakes, and we've just been out on the lake in two tiny sailboats.
People had very different expectations, they had very different backgrounds, and they had very different knowledge of the Middle East.
Fine arts major and a Middle East pluralities major, and be able to kind of immerse ourselves in it for 5 days or so. See it in real life instead of just reading it from books. Also see the fine arts aspect of it, where you can go visit the mosques and it overlaps with the culture of the Middle East and also the artistic side of it. So I really like that I got to go on this trip because it overlaps my majors, and it was really beneficial to me to be able to see it in person because you don't often get opportunities like that.
Something I've definitely learned in Egypt. I've actually been in the Middle East before. I've been to Bahrain and Dubai during my time in the military. And coming to Egypt 3 years later is a totally different experience because it's a totally different culture.
Ma partie préférée de tout ce voyage, ça a été quand nous sommes allés voir les pyramides, parce que c'est vraiment quelque chose qu'on voit que dans les films, et donc c'était vraiment génial de pouvoir enfin voir ça en vrai.
Favorite part of the trip has probably been being in the Middle East and Africa for the first time, and it reminds me a lot of where my dad's from, in Mexico, but at the same time there's a lot of cultural differences. It's really fun to compare and to obviously try to learn some of the language.
And we went to the top of this hill structure, and there was just a huge group of Egyptian children and teenage people, and they all came up to us and asked to take our picture and asked us questions about where we're from and who our favorite movie star was and who we voted for in the election, essentially. It's really interesting.
We went to the 14th century mosque in the city. That was so cool to be in. It's been there for such a long time. It was just really, and it's so quiet compared to the rest of Cairo. I thought the contrast was really just stunning.
My favorite was going to the concert because I had been listening to Arabic music before I came, and I really went to a real concert to listen to those Arabic songs, and I really like it.